In this video, I'm going to be talking about how I made these Tapestry sweatshirts. So to start off, I went to Savers. I found this idea from YouTube and I thought it was really cool, so I did a little twist on it and made it my own. And I found at Savers a bunch of these Tapestry sweatshirts, or blankets, that I will turn into sweatshirts. The first thing I did was I bought the blankets, and then I went and I found a bunch of discounted, like on sale sweatshirts. I looked at Dick's Sporting Goods, I looked at Kohl's, and they have a lot of like clearance items. All the sweatshirts costs were normally around, the cheapest was $3, and then the most expensive sweatshirt that I bought was around $7 to $8. So I got them for a pretty good price. And then the blankets were only around $10 to maybe $12. There was a Mickey Mouse blanket that I paid $14 for, but I don't know if I'll make that into a sweatshirt, to be honest. To be honest, I've made it quite an addiction now to making these sweatshirts, so I can talk all about it. Basically, what I did was I took my discounted on-sale sweatshirt or whatever, I just completely took it apart. What I wanted to do was just replace the chest piece of the sweatshirt with the blanket. You can do your entire sweatshirt tapestry blanket, but which is what I end up doing later, and I'll talk a little bit about the differences. Or you can just do a sleeve, or one sleeve, or both sleeves, or just a pocket. So basically what you're going to do is I laid out my sweatshirt onto the blanket, and as you saw, I cut out the shape that I wanted to replace the sweatshirt with Tapestry. And for this one, I used a baby blanket. It was a baby blanket from a Tapestry baby blanket. It was of Winnie the Pooh, and I only wanted to replace the chest piece, so I ended up cutting out the chest piece and seam ripping chest piece off of the rest of the sweatshirt. And then here I am taking the wrong sides of the fabric and I'm sewing it together. So basically what this does is it turns the fabric, or the wrong side fabric, inward, so you cannot see the sewing that you're doing here, that I'm doing here. It's on the other inside of the sweatshirt, and then on the other side it'll come out like a seamless sewing job. Thank you for my mom. She helped me a lot throughout this project. She taught me how to use the sewing machine, and now I'm pretty confident in my sewing skills, and I think I might go on and sew a few more other things. I want to try a backpack and stuff like that. I just used white thread, and then which is like pretty heavy duty white thread, and then I used a 12. It's more of a heavy duty stitch. And I didn't really want this. I wanted this sweatshirt to be quality, and I wanted it to look good. And so I took my time on the sewing job. I think the longest process on these projects was definitely seam ripping the sweatshirts apart. That took forever. I had to use a seam ripper and go throughout each seam that I wanted to keep or take away, and I had to seam rip every single thread. In some sweatshirts, in like this blue sweatshirt case, I really only wanted the elastic, because this is one of these sweatshirts that I wasn't going to just replace a panel of the sweatshirt. I was going to replace the entire sweatshirt. So I wanted to do the sleeves, I wanted to do the hood, I wanted to do the back and the front, and so all I wanted out of the sweatshirt was the elastic bands for the waist and the elastic bands for the wrist cuffs, and which is why I bought the sweatshirt in the first place. In my later sweatshirts, which I'm not showing in this video, I'm going to make a part 2 of this video just because I really want to talk about the in-depth process more, and I also have a bunch more sweatshirts that I made. I think I made 4 of them in total, and I have 4 more blankets that I want to turn into sweatshirts. I'm not sure if I'll do them all, but basically, in those other videos, in those other sweatshirts, I wanted to buy my own elastic, so I just bought the elastic from Walmart, and then I didn't have to buy a whole sweatshirt. I just used the elastic cuff that I had bought from Walmart, and I sewed that to the sweatshirt. And then I made my own hood. In the second video, part 2, I made my own hood out of the scraps from the leftover sweatshirts, which is it was a struggle, but it was hard. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the second video, but it was fun. Sewing's been a lot of fun for me recently. I think it's a big change from drawing or ceramic projects that I've been doing recently. I just find it really fun to learn a new craft and learn a new type of art. I think this is really cool. Another thing about these Tapestry sweatshirts is I feel like you have to have a lot of confidence wearing them out in public. Don't get me wrong, the style of the sweatshirt's really cool, and I think they're really comfortable, and they're warm, they keep you warm. But you do get a lot of weird looks. If you are wearing these sweatshirts, a lot of people look at you a little weird because, I mean, you've got a giant pattern and a giant blanket on you. And I think they look really cool, so I'm confident wearing them sometimes. But it depends on the mood. It depends on where you're going. Like when I went out to dinner with one of these sweatshirts on, I did get a few weird looks, and I could tell that it's probably from my sweatshirt. I wanted to pick sweatshirts that were approximately the same color as the blankets that I was using, so I went with the same color scheme. On this blue one, I found the blanket was a lot of blue from the ocean and the boats and the trees, and just the way the Tapestry sweatshirt was. I went with a lighter blue sweatshirt, and I used the elastic cuffs and elastic bands as light blue instead of white. I thought it would look better. So this was the final result. So this is what the sweatshirt looked like, all done. It's all sewed and everything's done. I really enjoyed this project. I had a lot of fun. I will say one thing I didn't mention is the time that these took. They take a really long time to make. The sweatshirts, all in all, like this blue sweatshirt, probably took me anywhere from 20 hours to 30 hours. It's also because I was learning how to sew, and I'll definitely get faster the more I sew and the more I work with the sweatshirts and the sewing machine. But this Winnie the Pooh one was a lot quicker just because the entire thing was not tapestry, so less sewing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.